touch me!
Elena, it's me, Daniel.
No, no, no!
It's me, Daniel.
Daniel? Daniel didn't like me. Daniel didn't like me. You didn't like me? You didn't like me, now I don't like you. You didn't like me, now I don't like you.
The library was almost empty when Elena found him slumped over his textbook, fast asleep with an assignment due in 3 hours that he hadn't even started. She stood there for a moment, watching him. Daniel Okafu, the boy who made her heart race every time he walked into a room. The boy who had no idea she existed beyond being his study helper. Elena wasn't the type of girl boys like Daniel noticed. She didn't wear the latest fashion or expensive jewelry like the other girls at the university. Her clothes were simple, often the same 2 or 3 outfits rotated throughout the week, carefully hand-washed in the dorm bathroom every night. While other girls carried designer bags and wore makeup, Elena carried a worn backpack her mother had sewn for her from old fabric scraps. She was the scholarship girl, the poor girl, the one who walked everywhere while others arrived in cars with drivers. But that didn't stop her from loving Daniel, and it didn't stop her from helping him, even when it hurt to watch him chase after rich girls who didn't care about him the way she did. Daniel, she whispered gently, shaking his shoulder. Wake up, your assignment is due soon. He jolted awake, panic flashing across his handsome face. What time is it? You have 3 hours. Let me help you. And she did, just like she always did. Elena sat beside him for the next 2.5 hours, explaining concepts he'd missed in lectures, helping him structure his paper, essentially guiding him through the work he should have done himself. You're a lifesaver, Elena, he said, when they finished, flashing her that warm smile that made her forget how to breathe. Seriously, I don't know what I'd do without you. Love me, she wanted to say. See me the way I see you. But she just smiled and said, that's what friends are for. Friends. That word always felt like a small knife to her heart. As they packed up to leave, Daniel started humming. It was their song. A silly jingle from a radio advertisement they'd both found hilarious during their first study session together. Somehow it had become their thing. Whenever one of them hummed it, the other would smile. A secret language only they shared. Still can't believe we made a radio jingle into our song, Daniel chuckled. It's a good jingle, Elena said softly, her heart swelling because he'd said our song, like they had something special. It really is, he agreed. Then his phone buzzed. His face lit up. Oh, Chioma just texted. We're meeting up later. Chioma, the girl with the perfect body, expensive braids, designer clothes, daughter of a wealthy businessman. That's nice, Elena said, trying to keep the hurt from her voice. Yeah, I really like her. She's different from the other girls, you know. She seems to really get me. He was already smiling, thinking about Chioma instead of the girl who just spent hours helping him. I hope it works out, Elena lied. Thanks, Elena. You are the best friend a guy could ask for. He grabbed his bag. Same time tomorrow? I have that economics test coming up. I'll be here. He waved and headed out, already texting Chioma. His mind completely shifted away from Elena. Elena sat alone in the empty library, blinking back tears. Then she gathered her books and began the long walk back to her dorm. A walk she made several times a day because she couldn't afford the campus shuttle and certainly didn't have money for taxis. That was how it always went. Weeks turned into months. Elena continued to help Daniel with everything: assignments, exam preparation, understanding concepts he struggled with. She would skip meals sometimes to save money, but she'd still bring him snacks when she noticed he looked tired or stressed. Her roommate would shake her head. Elena, why are you wasting your time on that boy? He's from a rich family. He will never see you as anything more than the scholarship girl who helps him pass. I'm not doing it for that, Elena would say. But even she knew it was a lie. She kept hoping that one day he'd look at her and see what she saw in him. Meanwhile, Daniel dated girl after girl, All of them from wealthy families, all of them beautiful and polished, and everything Elena wasn't. She watched as he got excited about Choma, then heartbroken when Choma chose someone richer. She comforted him when Ada said she just wanted to be friends. She listened to him complain about how Zainab seemed more interested in his family connections than in him. Each time, Elena was there, constant, steady, loving him silently while he looked everywhere else. Daniel never noticed her feelings, not because he was cruel, but because it genuinely never occurred to him. She was his friend, his study partner, the smart girl who helped him. Why would she want more than that? One afternoon, they were sitting under the large tree on campus, their usual spot. Elena was helping him with economics while he occasionally checked his phone. Daniel, you need to focus. The test is tomorrow. I know, sorry. He put his phone down. Okay, explain it again. She did, patiently, even though this was the fourth time. You're so good at this, Daniel said genuinely. I'm lucky to have you as a friend. Most people wouldn't put up with me. Every time he said friend, it hurt. But Elena just smiled and continued helping. They sat in comfortable silence for a while. Then, Elena saw something that made her stomach drop. Across the quad, Choma was walking with another guy, a guy Elena recognized as the son of a government minister. They were holding hands, laughing together. Daniel saw it too. His face fell completely. Oh, he said quietly. I thought she said she wasn't seeing anyone else. Elena's heart ached for him. Even when he was hurting over another girl, she hurts for him. I'm sorry, Daniel, she said softly. It's fine. I should have known. He ran his hand through his hair, dejected. Why do I keep choosing girls who don't really care? Because you can't see the one who does, Elena thought. But she didn't say it. Maybe you just haven't found the right person yet. Maybe, he sighed deeply. You want to go get something to eat? I really need to not think about this. Elena's heart leapt despite the circumstances. Time with him, even if it was just as a friend. Even if it was because he was sad. I'd like that, she said. They walked into the small cafeteria near the student center. Daniel bought food for both of them. He always did, knowing Elena never had much money. She tried to refuse at first, but he'd insisted. And eventually she'd stop fighting it because she was often genuinely hungry. They sat and talked about safe things, classes, upcoming exams, campus gossip. For those moments, Elena could almost pretend this meant something more. Then, Daniel checked his phone and brightened. Oh, Angela from my literature class wants to study together next week. And just like that, the spell was broken. There was already someone new capturing his attention. Elena was invisible again. The breaking point came on a Thursday evening. 4 months later, Daniel had sent Elena a message asking her to meet him at their spot under the tree. He said he needed to talk about something important. Elena's heart pounded as she walked across campus. Maybe, finally, he'd noticed me. Maybe he had realized how she felt and wanted to talk about it. She arrived first, her hands trembling slightly. The sun was setting, casting golden light across the campus. It would have been beautiful if she wasn't so nervous. Daniel arrived a few minutes later, looking uncomfortable. That was unusual. Hey, he said, sitting down beside her on the grass. Thanks for meeting me. Of course. What's up? He was quiet for a moment, choosing his words carefully. Finally, he said, Elena, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me. Her heart stopped. Okay. Do you... He paused. Do you have feelings for me? Like, more than just friends? The world seemed to stop spinning. Elena's face went hot. Her throat went dry. Every instinct told her to deny it, to protect herself. But she was so tired of pretending. Yes, she whispered, unable to meet his eyes. I do. And I have for a long time. The silence that followed felt endless. Elena, Daniel's voice was gentle, which somehow made it worse. Why didn't you tell me? Because I was scared. Because I knew you didn't feel the same way. Because her voice broke. Because I didn't want to lose you completely. You're one of my best friends, Daniel said carefully. You're important to me. You've been there for me through everything, and I appreciate you so much. But not in that way. Elena finished for him, finally looking up. Tears were already streaming down her face. I know what you want to say, Daniel. You care about me, but not in the way I care about you. Daniel looked genuinely pained. I'm sorry. I really am. You're an amazing person, Elena. You're kind and brilliant, and you've always been there when I needed someone, but I just don't feel that way about you. I see you as a friend. A really important friend. But just as a friend, Elena said, her voice hollow. Just as a friend. Daniel continued, I wish I could feel differently, he said, and he looked like he meant it. You deserve someone who sees how incredible you are, someone who loves you the way you deserve. I'm just not that person. Elena stood up abruptly. She couldn't sit here anymore, couldn't look at his kind, pitying face. I need to go. Elena, wait, no, Daniel. Thank you for being honest, but I can't do this anymore. I can't keep helping you and watching you date other girls and pretending my heart doesn't break every time. You're important to me as a friend. I know. I heard you. She was crying openly now. But I can't be just your friend anymore. It hurts too much. Elena, please, goodbye, Daniel. She turned and walked away quickly, not looking back, even though she heard him call her name. Elena walked across campus in a daze, her vision blurred with tears. She made it back to her dorm room and collapsed on her bed, sobbing into her pillow so her roommate wouldn't hear. Her phone rang an hour later, an unknown number. Hello? Her voice was hoarse from crying. Is this Elena Adeyemi? A man's voice, official, careful. Yes, who's this? This is Officer Taiwo from the local police station. I'm calling about your parents, Baba Adeyemi and Mama Adeyemi. Elena's heart stopped. What about them? What's wrong? I'm very sorry to inform you that there's been an accident. A truck lost control near the market this afternoon. Your parents, they were both struck. They were taken to the hospital, but I'm sorry to say they didn't survive. I'm very sorry for your loss. The phone slipped from Elena's hand. Dead. Both of them. Dead. Her father, who worked construction sites in the burning sun every day so she could attend university. Her mother, who stood over a hot stove selling food by the roadside, saving every extra coin for Elena's books and supplies. Gone. No. Elena heard herself say, No, they can't be dead. I just spoke to Mama yesterday. She said she'd send me money for food this week. They can't be dead. Her roommate rushed in. Elena, what's wrong? But Elena couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. The world was crushing her, suffocating her. In one day, she'd lost the boy she loved and both of her parents. In one day, everything that mattered had been ripped away. Something inside her mind cracked. They left me, Elena started saying, her voice becoming frantic, unhinged. Everyone leaves. He doesn't want me. They left me. I'm alone. I'm all alone in this world. Elena, please, let me help. But Elena was already running, out of the dorm, out of the campus gates, into the streets. Behind her, her roommate was shouting, but Elena didn't hear, couldn't hear. The world was underwater, far away, unreal. She ran until her legs gave out somewhere in the city, collapsing in a dirty alley. Her mind fracturing, reality slipping away like water through her fingers. and in the darkness, as her sanity shattered into pieces, the last coherent thought she had was, "He doesn't want me. They're dead. I'm alone. Everyone always leaves." Then, even that thought dissolved into chaos, and Elena disappeared into the madness. Daniel tried to find her. The guilt consumed him the moment she walked away. He'd seen how much his words had hurt her, and he felt terrible. He went to her dorm that evening to apologize, to tell her that even though he couldn't give her what she wanted, he valued their friendship too much to lose it. But when he got there, her roommate was in tears, surrounded by other students. "What happened?" Daniel asked. "Elena," the roommate sobbed. "She got a call. Her parents were killed in an accident. Both of them. She lost it. Started screaming and ran out. Now no one knows where she went. Both parents dead." Daniel felt sick. Elena had come straight from his rejection to this, the worst day of her life, and she'd faced it completely alone. He searched everywhere, the campus, the nearby streets. He asked everyone, checked the hospital, the police station, anywhere he could think of. But Elena had vanished. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Daniel kept searching, kept asking, but it was like she disappeared into thin air. And all he could think about was her face when he told her he didn't feel the same way. The devastation in her eyes, how she'd been alone when she'd gotten the worst news of her life. Life continued, but everything felt wrong. Daniel kept attending classes, but he'd catch himself looking for Elena everywhere. In the library, under their tree, in all their usual spots. She was never there. Other girls still pursued him. He still went on dates, but nothing felt right anymore. He dated Angela for a while, but she turned out to be seeing 2 other guys at the same time. Then there was Blessing, who admitted she'd only gotten close to him to meet his wealthy father. One by one, the girls he had thought cared about him revealed they never really had. Then, Choma came back. 6 months after Elena disappeared, Choma showed up at his family's house with apologies and tears. "I made a mistake," she said. "That other guy didn't work out. I should have chosen you, Daniel. I want to be with you now." Daniel, lonely and desperate for real connection, wanted to believe her. They dated for almost a year. He took her to expensive restaurants, bought her gifts, introduced her to his family. He thought maybe finally this was real. Then one day he came home early to find Choma in his room with another man, both of them going through his laptop, transferring money from his family's accounts into untraceable ones. "What the hell are you doing?" Choma didn't even look sorry. She just smiled coldly. "What did you expect, Daniel? You were always so easy to use. Thanks for the cash, by the way." They got away with over 3 million naira before Daniel could stop the transfers. He sat alone that night, staring at the drained accounts, feeling emptier than any money loss. He didn't even feel like calling the cops on them. He was just weak. Every girl he dated had used him for money, for status, for connections. Every single one. Except Elena. Elena who'd helped him without ever asking for anything in return. Elena who'd celebrated his successes and comforted his failures. Elena who'd walked across campus in worn shoes just to bring him notes when he was sick. Elena who'd gone hungry sometimes but still shared her food with him when she had any. Elena who loved him genuinely, completely, asking nothing in return. Elena who he'd rejected, who he'd lost, who needed him on the worst day of her life, and he hadn't been there. Daniel started searching again, not casually this time, desperately. He hired people. He checked every hospital, every shelter, every corner of the city. 2 years passed. Daniel graduated, started a successful business with his family's connections, made money, became what everyone would call successful. But he was empty inside. He'd go on dates occasionally, but they all felt meaningless. None of them had Elena's genuine smile. None of them hummed silly jingles with him. None of them looked at him the way she had, with real care and affection. None of them were Elena. When Chioma had the audacity to come back a year later with more apologies, Daniel didn't even let her finish speaking. "Get out! You're a thief and a liar, and you were never worth what I lost while I was looking at you instead of seeing what was right in front of me." She left, and Daniel felt nothing. Just the same hollow numbness. Every night, he sat in his family's big house and thought about Elena, wondered where she was, if she was even alive, if she'd ever forgive him. He would give everything, all his money, all his success, just to see her again, just to tell her he was sorry, that she had been right about all those girls, that he had been blind. 2 years and 5 months after Elena disappeared, Daniel was being driven through the old downtown area when he saw her. At first he thought he was hallucinating, his mind playing tricks. But no, that was her. Elena was sitting on a street corner, her clothes filthy and torn, her hair matted and wild, talking animatedly to herself and laughing at things that weren't there. "Stop the car," Daniel shouted to his driver.